All right, we're live. Hello, everyone, and welcome to my YouTube channel, The United Road. And today I have been joined by two guests. Obviously, you can relate with Almighty Blues, the Chelsea supporters. You can say supporters group, or you can say supporters channel. So we will be discussing about the season so far, and we will also be talking about the previous results as well as. So give a big round of applause. So first of all, Ankit Bhaiya, he is here for he is going to be showing us the Chelsea way. That's what they used to say, the Chelsea way. So
Definitely,
welcome, Ankit.
definitely.
Welcome to the stream.
It's my pleasure, Anshuman. Like I've been waiting to come on. I know that I'm a follower of the channel. I love the channel. Of course, looking forward to the chat with Sebastian. And yes, you're right. I mean, definitely, there's always a Chelsea point of view or an opposition point of view, but more so, like I tweeted earlier as well, right? I mean, we are all football lovers after all, and we are here to celebrate the season so far. Because let's be honest, with the crowd being back this season, this has been like a breakthrough season already in history. So just looking forward to the chat.
All right. And the other guest we have tonight is United fan. Obviously, I wanted to have another United fan, take my side so that we can outmuscle the Chelsea fan. So welcome to the stream for the first time, Sebastian.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me on. It's a pleasure to be here. Happy New Year to everybody watching. Happy New Year to you both.
Happy
Same
New
to
Year
you.
to
Thank
everyone,
you.
guys. And as I said, I always take some time before I get along with the stream because in my stream people are always like 5-7 minutes late. So I take my time and then I start with all the topics we have to cover. So first of all, we will definitely be starting with as I said, we will have our preview in terms of how our season has been. United season, Chelsea season. We will take like 6-7 teams. Obviously, not the entire 20 because that will take a lot of time, and no one is willing to listen about what Norwich are going to do or what Newcastle are going to do. So we will keep it on around top six, top seven at this point of time. So Ankit, I will be starting with the first of all, before we get into the season preview, the Lukaku saga. So the Lukaku saga, everyone is laughing at Lukaku, everyone is laughing at Chelsea. I
Yeah,
don't see the point of laughing at Chelsea because it's obviously totally Lukaku's decision to come out and talk about all that stuff. So at this point of time, I just want to hear from a Chelsea fan that how you feel, your 100 million striker coming out, and then it's like, oh, I just want to go back to Inter Milan.
yeah, absolutely. So, as in again, there are different phases to how it happened. Like it's well documented by now. But again, like we haven't heard all the sides of the coin yet. So I would still kind of and then keep my cards close to my chest. Not going to be defending Chelsea for the sake of it or Lukaku for the sake of it. Yes, the first reaction again, people who might have seen on Almighty Blues FC, hopefully you did because I just kind of and then went out and just shared my feelings. And my feelings for sure is first point was a point of almost betrayal, saying that hey, you are a person who kind of love Chelsea, and then that's a fact. Like he cannot kind of kid for so many years that how we love Chelsea. Didier Drogba is his idol. He came back to the club, and of course we all remember that kind of as in montage which was very popular when he was actually playing in Belgium. He visited Chelsea as a youngster, and he said, one day I'll make it big on this stadium. And this is something that we all hope for. And even when he came, like he started well, I would say. But the fact that he goes out and tells that again, the one side of the coin is like that was the time 3 weeks ago when he was I think just kind of tested positive, if I'm not wrong. And that is the time when he thought that okay, it's been a few months that I've left Inter Milan. I've not spoken to the fans, and there was a lot of backlash back in Italy. Remember when he moved, right? Because of obvious reasons. But it's only human for him to kind of clear it out because he had a relationship with his old fans, and there's no two ways about it, and we respect that. Now, in the past, there have been a lot of other players of Chelsea, of other clubs, for sure, who have praised their past clubs and said that I would definitely like to return there one day. And the difference is that the way he puts it, first of all, the timing, because Chelsea season in the last couple of weeks have obviously gone topsy turvy. Along with that, obviously, the way he says it, the point that he says that I want to return to Inter Milan in my prime. And that is where Chelsea fans are a little bit disappointed because, hey, you just signed 5 months ago for a 5 month contract, and now you're saying in your prime. And, as in that really does not, kind of, I mean, there's got to be one or the other. It cannot be both. And the second point is like, of course, about the system. yes, I would like to clear it out. He didn't clearly say that he has a problem with Tuchel. It's more about the system, which again, there have been players in the past who have told that. So that part I can still get it. But at the end of the day, it does smell of an excuse as well, because of the fact that, after he came back from injury, he hasn't been as prolific as what he was when he was, he wasn't injured, right? So that's something that I believe at his level, he knows that he represents basically a set of fans, and they definitely would watch him, follow him. So he has to be very careful, because there are a lot of ultras out there, like me, who definitely will not take it lightly, because we believe that Lukaku at 100 million is signed for a particular reason, and he has played and done very well in Everton. I would say even Manchester United at times, he won you a lot of matches as well, right? So he has to be professional enough, and him saying that he's professional, certainly not. Like, again, I'm not sure if you can see behind me, I actually put up an AC Milan jersey, just in a sort of silent protest, which I did in my video as well. But the fact that I think the second part, he actually mentioned about the big clubs, and Lautaro Martinez not going to be returning to Chelsea. I would rather have him be at Inter Milan, and I'll go there. He can at least mention Chelsea in that statement, and that would have definitely not blown out of proportion the way it has done. And that is the main issue for me. Of course, there is a third part to come, I think, as we speak. So hopefully he has told something good about Chelsea. But I would say the media has definitely been opportunistic, and he knew that they'll be as well. So it's kind of naive at his end, or maybe it is an hidden agenda. He has something against Tuchel that only time will tell.
All right. So before I move to take point of view of Sebastian, I have a lot of comments coming in. So guys, I'm really sorry, because as I said, it's a discussion, so you can put up your, whatever questions you have. Today, I won't be able to get back to, every comment, because there are others in the house. So happy New Year to all of you, and thanks a lot for joining. I always take the names. So Ashley, Venkatesh, Marlene, Avnish, Aman Bhai, thanks a lot for joining in the stream. So whatever questions you have, you can keep coming up with the questions. We will be talking about, Lukaku, as well as I said, the review of the entire season so far. So before I move, Sebastian, your views as a United fan on how you see this happening, the Lukaku situation.
Yeah,
Just
it's an
imagine if
interesting.
it was Paul Pogba.
Yeah, well, we've had plenty of situations with Pogba, haven't we? So it's nice that it's somebody else. I think with Lukaku, it's a difficult one. He's got so much talent, hasn't he, as we all know. I remember seeing him against Manchester United for West Brom when he was on loan there, and he came off the bench. I think he got a hat-trick against us. It was the 5-5 crazy game. And I remember thinking, Jesus, Lukaku, he's got absolutely everything that day. But yeah, it always seems to be a problem with him. And the same happened when he was at Manchester United. There were questions over his fitness and was he really committed. When he went to Italy, it seemed like all that had finally gone away. He seemed really, really fit and ready to go. And I think that was the best football he's probably ever played in his career. There's no secret that he loves working with Antonio Conte. So I think that was the best time of Lukaku's career. And you think coming back to England, he'll have a point to prove. He'll want to prove Chelsea wrong for letting him go in the first place. But in the end, it just hasn't worked already. There's already seemingly a problem, which is a shame for him and a shame for Chelsea. I wonder what the other Chelsea players think of it, because they are champions of Europe and they won that without Lukaku. So they must be sort of looking at Lukaku when he comes in thinking, you're supposed to be adding something to this side. You're supposed to be, bringing something new, and all you're doing is complaining. So it's not a particularly good start for him. So I wonder what the other Chelsea players think about that. That would be something that I would like to know.
All right, so we will move about, talking about Chelsea. So we have questions coming in, guys. That's how my channel is all about. There are a lot of questions, a lot of people in terms of what they want to ask. So the first question is, what should exactly happen with Lukaku? We will keep it short, because there will be a lot of questions coming in, so we cannot keep it up. So Ankit Bhaiya, first thing, what should happen with Lukaku? He's already suspended.
Yeah, then see, as in again, the easier way could have been that Tuchel continues and just kind of snubs this whole issue, because you don't want to kind of bring more noise than what Lukaku has already made, as in whatever happened, we all know. But I think it'll be a wrong example. Like, I think Sebastian kind of hit the nail on the head, because we have won the Champions League without Lukaku, and there have been a lot of Chelsea players like Aspilicueta out the side, the captain as in Jorginho, a lot of examples that are there who have kind of been through tough times, and been through whatever they've been, and kind of won the Champions League, and for them to see a player come out and say the statements without them being aware of it, and then playing, will not be a great example. So there has to be basically a lid put somewhere. But the end of the day, we all know at Chelsea what happens. Like, whether I like it or not, it doesn't matter. Roman Abramovich, the moment he feels that,
All right.
okay, it's basically the other players are with Lukaku, Tuchel is gone in the summer. And I hate to say it, but player power is something that we all know exists in Chelsea in EPL football. But I would not want that to happen. What I really want, my opinion, is for Lukaku to basically just clear the air and realize that, hey, this is something that he has crossed the line, or maybe it was not intended to. The way he said, the timing, etc., the fact that he called the press conference without Chelsea being aware, those are things that he kind of accepts and comes out in the open, and actually, for once, just behave like a professional, which he hasn't been in the last week. So for me, that will be the end of story. Again, in the past, I remember DJ Drogba has made a lot of statements back when he came from Marseille to Chelsea, like back 20 years ago. I still remember, even before that. I think we all know, bullet of the life. We celebrate a lot of Chelsea legends, but the fact that they have not always spoken for Chelsea, there have been mistakes, and again, they're human. And back in the day, there wasn't social media. Yes, they have to be much more careful. But I think a lid to the entire story can be only done by Chelsea Football Club, Lukaku, and Thomas Tuchel. All three need to come out with statements formally, and that will be, after they have sorted out behind the doors.
Do you
All right,
think? Do you think
Sebastian,
that?
a short review on this Lukaku. Sold in the summer?
Oh, I don't know about sold. I think it all depends on the manager, doesn't it? If another manager was to come in and like we know with Chelsea, Tuchel could be gone. Like it rightly says, Tuchel could be gone. So we'll have to wait and see. I think if it was another manager, Lukaku might stay. So we'd have to wait for that. But it's interesting because Chelsea have put a buyback clause in the Tammy Abraham deal. So I wonder if they sort of foresee this coming, and they're thinking, right, we could potentially need Tammy Abraham to come back if Lukaku does go. So I think that's an interesting point. And I wonder if that's a big reason as to why Chelsea did that. I think they'll want to keep him. Obviously, when you spend 97 million, you're not going to want to let him go after one season. So you'd imagine that they'll want to keep him. They'll want it all to work. And I'm sure it can. Things, as we know, with Man United fans, what happened with Wayne Rooney, after his apology, it's all forgotten and you move on. And as long as the player's scoring goals, that's all that matters. But I think it will just be a little bit of power play at the moment. I think Tuchel might have left him out of today's lineup. So I think it's probably just putting him back in his place for the time being, and then hopefully he'll come back for Chelsea's point of view, start scoring goals, and then you can move on back to him playing his best football.
All right. So we have a lot of comments coming in. So I will just read some of the comments for you guys. Prashant Vijay says, honestly, do not see what is wrong with Lukaku's interview. The man said he wants to fight for his place. We can all talk about fighting for the place, but I think, as Ankit Bhaiya mentioned, the media took a lot of opportunity in just showing it in the way that, all right, it's going to be the next big thing, as if Lukaku just wants to run away to Inter in just 2 or 3 days. So I think media was opportunistic out there. We also have a question which includes, will Chelsea summer? We have already discussed that, Venkatesh Bhai. Nanesh Bhai says 95 million down the drain. So that's a good thing to hear, because we have heard about Pogba, 89 million down the drain. We have heard a lot, the rivals mocking us for that. So we will take that for now. Ashley says this always happens at Chelsea. Ankit Bhaiya, what's with Chelsea and the strikers? Every time
Yeah.
it's the strikers. You look at Chelsea, everything is in rhythm, everything is in motion, everything is going great, and all of a sudden someone comes up with a bombshell.
Yeah. And again, like, you can say that it always happens, but again, honestly speaking, it happens in all the clubs. It's all about, I mean, things should not go in the open, and that is what happened. And without Chelsea being aware, that is the big mistake. And I would still say, like, I know that people are saying that the media has basically blown out of proportions. Yes, like I said, but certainly, as in, there is a mistake. Lukaku is not a kid. He definitely has a team, media management team behind him. He certainly knows what he's doing. Yes, basically an afterthought can be that he can correct it, and we all should give him an opportunity to do that right now. But I would say yes, number 9 is cursed at Chelsea. Let's be honest. We have to live with that. I don't believe in such things, with the fact that again, this has happened tells me that okay, fine. As in at the end of the day, as in it's all about basically the player power going, and that the numbers is something that we should really be careful about giving, because for me, yes, the striker at Chelsea is an issue. But again, you don't get a Drogba every day, right? As in, if Drogba is his idol, Drogba did mistakes in the past. He has to basically, right now is the time. Maybe like Lukaku is talking to Drogba. Hopefully, he is. He needs to basically seek opinion from people who've been at Chelsea, legends, to kind of how to correct the situation. Because, like I said, a lot of legends have done wrong things. Trust me, when Lampard scored against Chelsea with Man City, that was probably my worst, moment as a Chelsea fan. Like, I'll be very honest with that, right? But we all loved Lampard when he came back. So there are a lot of things that you do, and it's just about a body language, and they're all humans. But at the end of the day, he has a lot of responsibility, and he needs to correct it right now.
All right. So moving on, there's a good question coming in from Prashant Bhaiya. So I will start with Sebastian. Any
Hmm.
thoughts on Arsenal fans comparing Martinelli with Greenwood and how dumb it is? So he actually answered, but he also wants to know the point of view from us. So
Yeah, Martinelli's an interesting one. When he first came to the Premier League, he looked really, really good, didn't he? But then he had injury problems, and I think that sort of set back his general play. So, yeah, when he first came, I was impressed with him. I think he's a very different player to Greenwood, so I don't really see the comparison either. I would agree with that comment. I think Greenwood's more of a box player. Greenwood, if you watch Mason Greenwood for Man United, his best football is when he's actually inside the box. That's when he comes alive. That's when he can make things happen. He can switch, to either foot at either time, and that's where he's really dangerous. I think Martinelli's a little bit different. I think he's best on the left side of the pitch as an inside forward. He can cut in and shoot on his right foot, and that's more Martinelli's game. I think he has to work on his finishing as well, whereas Greenwood's more of a natural finisher. As we heard, Solskjaer put a lot of pressure on Greenwood, saying you're the best finisher at the club when he was asked about who's the best finisher a while back. So yeah, I think they're different players. Martinelli's starting to play better though for Arsenal, which is obviously good for them. But yeah, I think he just needs a run in the team. He needs to stay fit. That would be the main thing with Martinelli. If he can stay fit, then maybe we'll see his full potential. I thought he played okay the other day against Manchester City, put in a good performance. He's busy, he works hard. He's got a little bit of height about him as well. But yeah, it's just finishing the chances. And I think that comes when you play regularly, doesn't it? When you play every week, you start to finish your chances more often than not. So it'll be interesting to see how he develops, but I do think he's a different kind of player to someone like Mason Greenwood.
all right. So as a Chelsea fan, it's Arsenal and United, but I would love to hear what you think, Ankit, that how is that comparison, fair enough or not? To be honest,
It's not fair. It's definitely not fair
exactly.
because, like Sebastian said, as in Martinelli has been very injury prone, and yes, he has been fantastic. Like as a Chelsea fan, I can't forget that goal he scored and Conte made a mistake, which has been told that it was Martinelli doing things. But yes, I agree that he has a lot of potential. Probably one of the best, as in young strikers in Arsenal that's coming up, and probably they're doing the right thing by actually giving him a lot of opportunity. But he's not there yet. Greenwood, again, he's not there yet either, but he has a lot of natural flair and natural ability that maybe Martinelli kind of is more like someone who kind of relies a lot on his pace and rather than his skills. Greenwood has a natural skill that is very different, and of course you can't really compare because Greenwood is left footer. For me, as in Greenwood, I can actually see if say United finally go to the as in traditional 4-4-2, maybe he's a man who can actually play on the right hand side, whereas Martinelli is someone for me because of the pace would always be someone who would come off the left, and it would be more of like a winger come striker, more like a Rashford, if I may say so. But I would say in terms of just ability, both are great, but I think very different. I would if I have to really pick, I have to go for Greenwood because Greenwood I think will really make it big in Premier League.
All right. So the next question, guys, we had to do a season review, but as I said, questions will keep on coming. We will definitely end it up with a review. But one question, it looks like it's going to be City's title. So Aman Bhaiya is asking basically, seems like City running away with the title. Any thoughts if they will sleep up? In my opinion, no. But obviously, I would like to start with Ankit Bhaiya. Yes or no? We can talk about City's, title hopes and title challenge or title run basically for the entire night, but we will keep it short because
Yes, yes. And then honestly, like again, I know that most of the viewers kind of follow Manchester United, and City winning as in being so dominant is probably the worst thing that you can imagine. Not that Liverpool also won a couple of years ago. I think it's probably the worst phase, I have to say. And but as a Chelsea fan as well, right? As in City kind of overtaking Chelsea in recent years itself is very painful. But Pep Guardiola, let's give it to him. I would actually say that they have been lucky, in a way. I know that they've been fantastic. We have to definitely give them all the plaudits. But this season, especially with all the COVID cases in the last month, and of course the injuries, the cases that again, Manchester United, they had a couple of matches, called off. We didn't have any matches called off, but we had loads of COVID cases, a lot of injuries. City, on the other hand, did not have as many, so they have been in a way lucky to that extent. Yes, if they get injuries again, we don't want any players to get injured, but I can see it at least having a close kind of finish if in case City kind of miss a lot of players in say January, because January is also kind of busy. So I think, yeah, maybe beyond January, if they are where they are, I can see City certainly taking it easily.
All right, Sebastian, City's title to lose?
Probably not. No, probably not. Their home form's too good, isn't it? They're just solid at home. I think players like Rodri have really stepped up this year. When he first came, I wasn't sure about him, but now he's starting to remind me more and more of a Michael Carrick type player. He seems to be dominating games for Manchester City, and I think he's going under the radar a little bit. He obviously popped up with a goal yesterday, which was something that we don't see too often from Rodri. I noticed in the Euros he wasn't bad either. So I think he's really stepped up for Manchester City. They've obviously got a solid back four. We've seen Cancelo as well this year. I mean, he's just incredible. He's got the most passes in the Premier League, which is pretty crazy for a right back. He's just so confident. He just seems to be all over the pitch. I remember when Guardiola first came to the Premier League, he wanted his fullbacks to be really high and tried to get that system working. But at the time, he had Clichy and Sagna, and it wasn't quite working. But now he's got Cancelo and Walker, really good options in the fullback areas. They just look like they have two players for every position, and I think that's the problem for the rest of the league. In other teams, you can see some faults. When you look at Liverpool, they're going to lose some players for the African Cup of Nations. When you look at some of the other dramas which other teams have got, Man City just don't have that. They just look far superior, don't they? Two players in every position. They just seem to be making it work. So no, I can't really see them slipping up at the minute. I think it will be another title for them, unfortunately.
All right. So the next question, we are moving on. We are we are hearing rumors about Alvarez. Sebastian, you must have heard it. About Alvarez to United. Lot of noise from the South American contingent. Lot of noise.
Yeah.
Like they are like linking in with United on every day. It's like they wake up and they are like, United, Alvarez to United, it's done. So as a United fan, to be very honest, I am very susceptible about how I see the South American younger players. Even the players in the 25, 26, we have seen how much drama they bring with themselves. He has been a good scorer for River Plate, but that's a totally different dimension when you move to someone like Manchester United, from River Plate. So many people are like saying, he's the next Kun Aguero. He can be the next Kun Aguero. But my response, before I go, take your opinions, my response has always been like Aguero made his mark in Spanish league first. He went down and he teared apart the league with Atletico Madrid. So you just cannot compare someone like Alvarez and Aguero at this point of time. But I would love to have your views. Alvarez to United, we know that Martial might leave. So just keep Cavani in, or let go of Alvarez for now. Concentrate on CDM, or just something else.
Yeah, I think if Manchester United were to let go of Cavani and Martial, then you'd have to bring somebody in. So in that case, then yes, I would look at somebody like Alvarez, especially the way that Ralf Rangnick wants to play. He wants a pressing striker. He wants pace up there. So I think Alvarez would suit Manchester United in the way that we're trying to play now. But yeah, again, it's a difficult one because we don't have a good history with South American players. Obviously, that shouldn't be a problem. That doesn't mean we shouldn't target them. We should, because there's lots of fantastic players in those leagues. So I do think that he'd be a good option. But I'm not sure that Man United will go down that route. However, we don't know, because this is the interesting thing at the moment with having Ralph there. He's different to other managers that we've had previously. He's not. Mourinho wanted older players. Van Gaal wanted a certain type of player. Solskjaer wanted the ready-made players. Whereas Ralf Rangnick, we've seen him work with younger players before. So maybe it is a new sort of way of targeting players. Maybe Manchester United will look at Alvarez. I would have him in a heartbeat. I think he's young, he's quick, he's got a lot of potential. The other interesting thing is he has had a couple of caps for Argentina. And I think the big thing with young players playing for their country, when you're surrounded with players like Messi, all they want is for you to be able to keep the ball in tight areas. So it's all very well being quick and having attributes, but players like Messi, they just want to maintain attacks. They don't want the younger player to lose the ball in a good area after the attack's been built up. So I think the fact that Argentina trust Alvarez to do that shows that he has got some significant potential. But I think you're right in what you say. They don't usually come to the Premier League first. Normally they'll go off to Italy. Obviously they can speak a certain language there. So I think it's more common for Argentinian players to go to Italy first or to Spain before coming to England. So it would be a surprise if he was to come in January for sure.
All right. So Ankit Bhaiya, I don't know whether you are aware of this situation or the Alvarez, because to be honest, not everyone has seen him play. Even as United fans, we have not seen Alvarez play for River Plate or something, against them. We just have the clips. He is touted as the next big thing in the Argentinian football. But your opinion, as a Chelsea fan.
Yeah, as in definitely, as in we know, like as in talking about strikers that we did about Chelsea, but United, we know that always like to invest in strikers, and as in there have been multiple strikers at United on the bench as well over the years, and that's something that I always envied as a Chelsea fan. But I commend United for managing such a big squad in terms of strikers alone. So I can see where Sebastian is coming from in terms of Alvarez, kind of fitting in. Maybe he'll be given the time because of the fact that you already have good strikers. So I don't think striking is a position where you actually need like emergency kind of fixing. Definitely Rashford has got a surgery. People say that okay, maybe he's going to be turning a winger under Rangnick. But for me, again, it's not like he cannot play up front. He can play. Greenwood, we already spoke about. Ronaldo is here to stay. Let's be honest. His fitness, he's not going anywhere anytime soon. So it'll be a good time for Alvarez to come in and learn from these professionals and again bed in. While basically United, again, the main focus got to be, I think, CDM. It's well documented, and of course for me, right back, if I may say so. Yes, Van Bissaka is good defensively, but just like what I see as a neutral, right? I see definitely Man United not being able to basically dominate that first half is because of the fact that the fullbacks are not basically the way they should be attacking and going on the front foot, because that's how I think Man United has been over the years.
All right. So Rahul is asking, are we looking to sign anyone in the January transfer window? According to you, I will take your views, Sebastian. What to do about this situation? We need a CDM. We know that, but are we going to target anyone in the summer? Oh, sorry, in the winter.
In January, yeah. I think, firstly, I think it's more important to get players out. So I think if we can get certain players out, that's really important. I get as much of a enjoyment out of us selling players as I do bringing them in when it's a player that I want and I think needs to be moved on. I look at players like Mata. I look at the Lee Grant, Tom Heaton situation. Did we really need both of them? Okay, maybe one of them, but do we really need both of them? You look at Martial, you look at Lingard, hasn't really kicked a ball. So there's lots of players there that could potentially be moved on for one reason or another. So I think if Manchester United could move out potentially Martial, maybe Henderson, I'm not sure what's going on with him. I think that would be a big step because they're obviously on big wages, as we know. I think Martial is one of the highest paid players at the club and he's not obviously offering a lot at the moment. So I think if we could move players out first, then potentially you could see us do something towards the end of the window. But I think you're completely spot on with what you say about us needing a centre midfielder and a right back. I think they are the two positions that we need, clearly. We still need to be patient with Dalot. We don't know if he's going to be good enough. I've been impressed with him recently. I think he keeps going all game. We saw against Newcastle, he was having a tough game down that side, but he still managed to end up trying to cross the ball for Cavani, which led to a goal. So I like that with Dalot. I think he's got a good head on his shoulders. But yeah, as we've seen with Wan-Bissaka, he's just not quite there. He's never going to be. So the right back situation is somewhere where we could look at. I don't know whether we're going to go back in for Trippier. I've seen that Newcastle are already on that one. So yeah, maybe right back, maybe CDM. They'll be the two positions. CDM is a difficult one because I think you can go and get another player for maybe 15, 20 million, but is he going to be much better than McTominay or Fred? I think when you want to go and get a CDM who's really top class, you might have to wait till the summer. So that will probably be a Declan Rice, maybe Calvin Phillips you could look at in the summer. If Leeds were to get relegated, then Calvin Phillips, his price could drop. So we have to look at all different scenarios. Football changes very quickly. So we have to look at all different scenarios. So I think if Manchester United could move out potentially Martial, you look at Lingard, hasn't really kicked a ball. So maybe Henderson, I'm not sure what's going on with him. I think that would be a big step because they're obviously on big wages, as we know. I think Martial is one of the highest paid players at the club and he's not obviously offering a lot at the moment. So I think if we could move players out first, then potentially you could see us do something towards the end of the window. I think firstly work on getting some players out before we think about who we're going to get in.
All right. So the next question, guys. Talking about Pep and City's domination in the league, when do you think he will stop, basically retire from City? So that's a good question. He has been
Crazy.
such a pain. He has been such
Yeah.
a pain. When you look at everything that revolves around City, it's just Pep Guardiola. As United
Yeah.
fans, as Chelsea fans, even at Liverpool, even as Liverpool fans, they must be thinking if he was not the manager, they would have, at least be on 2021 by now. In terms of their titles, they lost by 1 point. You know, City went on a 13-game run. They were like, all right, this one opportunity to drop, and they didn't drop a single point. So I will take your opinion first, Ankit Bhaiya, that Pep has been a pain for everyone. Whether it's United, whether it's City.
Yes.
So do you see him retiring basically from the Premier League after 2023? That's till where his contract is.
Yeah, I honestly like I've gone on record on my channel multiple times in recent weeks, especially saying that he's turned EPL into a Bundesliga. Not no disrespect to Bundesliga, I love Bundesliga as well, but the fact that the competition level is certainly going down. The more Pep is here, because again, like his philosophy is something that he's really embedded into the club, and that's something that we have to give it to him, just like Alex Ferguson did all those years ago, right? As in, it's clearly that he's building a dynasty there, but knowing Pep, as in he is really kind of motivated, and for me, the main motivation is where it comes down to. Right now, for me, yes, absolutely, he wants to keep dominating. He wants to keep basically, building his philosophy. But I think it comes down to the Champions League. Like I think he's probably waiting for the Champions League. Yes, he reached the finals, and thanks to Chelsea, who kind of maybe increased
Thanks a
his
lot.
time.
Literally, thanks a lot for saving humanity.
Absolutely, but
You
at the
guys did
same
us.
time, yeah, no, I
You guys did us
definitely, I think.
everyone a favor basically.
Yes, but honestly, I think that will be the time, and probably will be probably the right time as well for him to move on, because like he wants to create something new at a club, and I don't think like the things that he's tried at City, as in how much can he basically change again. Like I don't think there's much to it. So beyond the Champions League, I see him kind of moving. Yes, I don't see them winning the Champions League this season either. Not that that is the answer to the question, but honestly, like that'll be the point where he'll kind of move on, because apart from that, he's kind of done everything. But it'll be interesting, like imagine a situation like, I know Aguero, again, condolences for his family that he's had to bear the pain of that he did. He had to retire recently, but the fact that he's not having a striker, maybe that is something new that he had of a challenge this season. Maybe next season it'll be something else. Like he always has some kind of excuses to find new ways of revitalizing, re-energizing the team, and that's something that he needs. So for me, as in the point where basically, as in maybe the current crop become maybe senior crops, in EPL altogether, that'll be the point when he really feels that they should win the Champions League, and I can see him kind of moving on 2023. That's right.
Sebastian, any chance of City getting rid of Pep? Getting rid, I'm saying that in a sarcastic manner because I want him gone.
Yeah, don't worry, I get you. Yeah, no, I don't think. Yeah, they'll never get rid of him. Certainly, I think it'll be when he wants to go. He has talked about wanting to manage Brazil or Argentina, hasn't he? I think he did mention that in an interview. So maybe that's one of his dreams that he wants to do at some particular time. That'll be interesting to see when he does that. I don't know. I think sometimes you feel like he gets a little bit bored because City, obviously they've got all the financial power, but when you hear him talking like he was a few weeks ago, where there was all that drama about where he talked about the fans not going to games, I think that was a sign of him sort of saying, that even when City are winning all these trophies, they can't really fill the stadium, and they don't really have that energy that other clubs have. When you look at certain other teams in the Premier League, like the energy that Manchester United, Liverpool have, the fan bases that they have, it's completely different. Then when you look at a team like City, it sometimes just feels a little bit stale. And yeah, you wonder if he's getting a little bit bored with that side of things. Sometimes you watch City games and it just kind of feels like a training match, doesn't it? So you wonder if he just wants a new challenge potentially at some stage. But as you both say, he'll want to win the Champions League first. That'll be something that he'll want to do at City, because he'll know that it won't be it won't be called as a real success if he doesn't do that. I've been impressed with the respect that he's shown to the cup competitions. I think he's took them very seriously. I think that's great. I think it's always good if you can win the Carabao Cup during the season. I think it gives you a good springing board to go on to win the league. I remember when Manchester United used to do that under Ferguson, it always was a really good thing for us if we could win the cup first and then go on to do really well in the league. So yeah, I've been impressed with Pep generally, but we'll have to wait and see what his plans are in the future. But he has talked about Brazil and Argentina, as we say. So maybe international management would be something that he'd like to try at one time in his career.
All right, so this was the Pep situation. We can definitely talk about it a lot, but we all want Pep gone. Fans, basically United fans, Chelsea fans, Liverpool fans, these three clubs, Arsenal not in the mix. Whether Pep stays or not stays, they are going to fight for the Conference League. So not even a question in that. So going on to the next question, there is a good point basically made by Samuel. He says, all right, before I take Samuel's question, there's one question, that is, who makes the team of the year so far, in the first 20 games from United? Guys, you have to make one name from United, or whether you think no one makes it. So I will start with, a tough question from Ankit Bhaiya. One question.
Yeah, I think that's a great...
one name which makes the team of the year if we have to make it right now, in the first 20 games.
Yeah, again, again, statistics is something that we can always consider. But I think the fact that I know it's a story, again, maybe I'm a football romantic, following football for over 20 years. I know that, a legend coming back to the club. Again, we're not referring to Lukaku here, unfortunately. But we are referring definitely to Cristiano Ronaldo. For me, yes, you can debate that Antonio has had a fantastic season. He deserves a striker spot in the team of the season so far. But Ronaldo, as in a way, maybe Antonio, people don't expect as much. Ronaldo, you expect him to score every goal. And yes, there is a debate that under Oli, especially, that Ronaldo coming did not really suit the team. There is a debate. Yeah, fair enough. But I don't think that's Ronaldo's mistake. So for me, I would still go for him because he has been very consistent. He has been one of the highest scorers in the Premier League, and I think he has bailed out United along with degea on very crucial situations. Yes, shout out to David De Gea as well, but I would not have him. I would certainly have Ronaldo in the team.
All right, Sebastian. We can think of just two names, to be very honest, as United fans at this point of time. It's either Dave or it's either Ronnie. So
yeah.
Who are you going with?
Yeah, if I was picking between them, it'd be Ronaldo, because if you watch the runs that Ronaldo makes, he would have scored a lot more goals if we had the players to find him. This is the problem with, obviously, McTominay and Fred. They can't find Ronaldo. And I've watched so many games where Ronaldo makes those runs and they just don't find him. And that's why he gets frustrated. So, yeah, I think Ronaldo would be the one that I would look at. I mean, I think he's got 8 goals now. He should have had a couple of penalties against West Ham away. So that would have been probably 10 or 11. And yeah, if the players had found him, I think he could have easily have scored 15, 16 goals already. So even if you're going to take in his form in the Champions League as well, if you want to take that into account, I think Ronaldo would be the one who stands out. De Gea has obviously made some crucial saves. He's not quite physical enough for me. I think that's a little bit of a problem. I think Man United have problems from corners due to De Gea's lack of physical presence, but his shot stopping has been fantastic. But yeah, I think Ronaldo would be the obvious one, and I don't think there's anyone else who really deserves a shout, unfortunately, at the moment.
All right. So one good question which is coming at this point of time is, VDB is not starting for Ralph either. Do you think it's time? We agree he doesn't fit in this squad. So I will start with Sebastian. Because I have been a huge Donny fan. I obviously want him to play, but first it was Ole. Obviously 1 year you take to adopt to the league, and he basically came back stronger, fitter. You look at the muscles he put out, and still he is on the bench. So your opinion on how Donny is doing in the training, that he's not getting a game over someone like Maxfred at this point of time?
Yeah, it's difficult, isn't it? I mean, when you look at Donny van der Beek, and I've watched an interview of his on Rio Ferdinand's YouTube channel, actually. Donny van der Beek comes across really well. He comes across someone very sensible. He doesn't seem like someone who's going to be kicking up a fuss, but we know that he has had his agent say a few different things at different times. So it's a difficult one to work out. I can't imagine that he's the type of character to be a problem. He doesn't look that way. But then you start to think, well, if 2 managers don't fancy him, then maybe there is something there. I think maybe it's just a lack of mobility, that maybe that's one thing that managers are afraid of. Obviously, Fred, again, when you talk about Donny not being popular, Fred, as much as we sort of berate him at times, he always manages to find a way into the team under any manager. So Fred obviously has qualities that people do like. I think it's his work rate is the main one. Whereas I wonder if people worry about that with Donny. I think, again, though, it's just the manager, because if you imagine Donny van de Beek in Man City's team, you'd imagine he'll be perfect, the way that he wants to play football. So maybe it's just a case of Man United haven't found their system yet, and maybe that's why he can't get in the team. But for me, yeah, I think when he came on against Watford a few weeks ago, that dreaded, horrible game against Watford, I thought Van der Beek came on and made a difference. He played a fantastic pass to Ronaldo, which he should have really scored, and obviously got a goal for himself. So I do think he just needs a run. I think if we were to give him 6 or 7 Premier League games, 90 minutes, in a row, obviously you've got to look out for his injuries and check that he's okay to do that. But if you can try to give him a run, I think then we'll see the best of Van der Beek. It's really hard to judge him at the moment, but I'd be interested to know what you two think. Where do you think is Van der Beek's best position? Do you think, everyone seems a bit confused. Is he a holder? Is he just in front? Or is he a number 10? I think when I look at Van der Beek, I think he's better in a sort of Tony Cruz role. So I don't want him protecting the back four, and I don't want him in a number 10. I want him somewhere in between. So I'd be interested to know what you two think about that.
Yeah, I'll just quickly come in because, again, for people who kind of follow Almighty Blues FC, I'm a huge Dutch fan. Yeah, internationally, as in I'm a Netherlands fan, and I've followed him quite closely, honestly speaking. For me, again, he's, I thought, perfect for United, because United, we know, unlike say Chelsea or many other teams, don't go for a double pivot who kind of are defensive midfielders, so as to speak. So someone like who's a hardcore defensive midfielder next to him would be Van de Beek, because he's someone who can kind of do everything, but at the same time he thinks forward, and that is what maybe United need, as in for them to take. So it's very surprising that none of the managers till date have actually maybe tried him in that as in position. Maybe McTominay for me can be told, because he's played again for the national team, he's played as centre back. He's more defensive minded, I would say. So Fred is, I would say, yes, he's not really a core CDM. He's someone who really likes to play, as in, again, the Brazilian in him kind of comes out, even though he might be not as good. But yeah, that's a fact that he's better at that. So for me, I think McTominay along with Van de Beek is something that I don't think many managers have even tried. There is certainly a risk, and the element now comes because of Paul Pogba, because Paul Pogba is currently injured, and this probably would have been the time maybe Oli would have used him if Oli was here. The reason why Rangnick is not able to use him as much for me is the fact that, again, it's a new manager, is going to take time, so he wants to see what is there, what has been as in continued with Oli, and he wants to see as in what they can bring to the table. Maybe we'll see him playing more games, but I actually would like to see him playing, because again, Paul Scholes back in the day, no comparison here, of course, but we know that as in Paul Scholes, he didn't have a tackle, he didn't know how to tackle, but everything else he was probably the best, right? So for me, I think that'll be a great example, and United really have to get to that level. It'll take time, but I can certainly see him clicking well.
All right, so there's a lot of debate. There was a question from Pranav Bhaiya, situation of Pogba, whether he is going to be here till the summer, whether he's going into, in January. So we all know, whether United fan is there, whether Chelsea fan is there, we all know what's the problem with Paul Pogba is. It's basically his agent. So if I ask you, Sebastian, if you get any sum of money, not 10 million, 15 million, because we all know that he is out of contract, no one is going to pay that money, more than 10 or 15 million even, and then pay Raiola the money, then pay his wages. He is asking for outrageous wages, we all know. So get rid of him in January, or just let it play out till summer. And in the meantime, in the 6 months that we have at this point of time, search for a suitable replacement.
Yeah, I think it's a difficult one. I think Manchester United just don't know what to do themselves, do they? I think because he's such a big name, and they obviously think of the off-the-pitch things that Paul Pogba brings, the shirt sales. I think the club, whether we like it or not, the club thinks a lot about those things. I think that's one of the main reasons that they want him to re-sign the contract, because it can't be anything that he's done on the pitch, because really he's never got to that level that we expected, has he? He's obviously a player with so much talent, but yeah, I think if you could move him on in January and get any money, that would be what I would do. I'm not sure that Manchester United will do that. I think we have to be very, very careful not to give him a huge contract, because it upsets the whole squad if you go and do that. If another player who's been performing better than Paul Pogba is on 200 grand a week, and then Paul Pogba goes and gets a contract of, I think he reportedly wants about 400 grand a week.
He
What does that
reportedly
say?
wants 500 to 550 grand.
There you
Basically,
go.
we have offered more than 430 already. He's not taking it. He's stalling for the last 4 months. So
there you go. Says it all, doesn't it? I think if and he's not even, he doesn't really deserve that sort of money. So I think you have to think about the whole dressing room, and I think it's great if you can get a sort of wage structure of where everyone's on the similar kind of money, but you're 1 or 2 stars. You don't mind Ronaldo being on extra money because he's going to perform, he's going to give you the goals. You don't mind that. You don't mind Varane coming in from Real Madrid if he gets a higher wage than, say, Wan-Bissaka. You don't mind that, but you don't want someone who's not really performing. I know Paul Pogba does very well for France, but I'm not really interested in France. I'm interested in Manchester United, and if he's not performing for Manchester United, at the end of the day, I think it's time to move on. I think his work rate's always been a problem. We've tried it where we've had Herrera next to him, we've had Matic next to him, and for whatever reason, it just doesn't quite work, does it? I think, like you said, all the stuff with his agent has come to the time now where I think it's best just to say thank you, but no thank you.
Ankit, your point of view on Pogba situation, I will take in a while. We have some new members joining in. So guys, welcome to the stream. As I said, I'm not able to take everyone's name today, but thanks a lot for joining the stream, and keep the questions coming in. We had to do a review. We will do the review for sure. But at this point of time, we are talking about the Pogba situation. Ankit Bhaiya, as a Chelsea fan,
sure.
when you see all the talk around Pogba, what comes to your mind?
Absolutely. Yes, and again, like you said, again, before I kind of put my views. Yes, everyone watching, do smash that like. It certainly helps, and subscribe. Anshuman has been working hard, and definitely every subscription, kind of helps. And I know Sebastian has a great channel, and we run as well a great channel, and we definitely are here for everyone to kind of discuss things, and every subscription counts. So yes, do subscribe and like the stream. Yes, Paul Pogba, honestly, the guy has to go, right? He has been great in moments, but the fact that he's not as motivated week in week out. Yes, injuries have taken their toll eventually, but come on, it cannot happen for so many years. And I think the package that you get with the obviously Mino Raiola, and we all know, like Lukaku situation, we know that Manchester United had issues already. So it was kind of strange that this went on for as long as it did. But the fact that Van der Beek is ready to fight for his place kind of proves that that is the way forward for Man United. And Bruno Fernandez is basically the person who will be the talisman of Manchester United. You cannot have Paul Pogba, Bruno Fernandez there. Yes, in the past, United had a lot of strikers on the bench, but I think times have changed. You cannot have everyone happy, in this situation. And for me, it's rather better for United to go for someone young who's kind of more motivated to prove in week out, rather than have Paul Pogba. And of course, the wages. I think the parity issue Sebastian spoke about is something that I think United has to take care of until they get to the very top again.
All right. So one question which we have missed in all of this saga is what Maguire's offers to United as a captain. What are his capabilities? This is a question which is making huge inroads. Everyone is discussing this topic because we can see he's not a captaincy material. I have said that before. It's not his fault that United paid 80 million for him, but it's his fault if he cannot be vocal on the pitch and rally your troops around. Basically, he looks lost. It's like Bruno is like fighting for the teammates. Obviously, sometimes he overdoes it, but he is basically fighting for the teammates. And when the camera goes on Harry Maguire, he is basically like, shit, why are they showing my face? So I will take a neutral point of view at this point of time. Ankit, what do you think about Harry Maguire as a captain?
Yeah, again, just as a neutral, honestly, I have to tell you the moment when Harry Maguire went to United, unlike popular opinion, despite the amount that he was signed for, I was unhappy as a rival fan, I would say first, right? Because the guy actually is good, but in a particular system. And I think a lot of pundits have already, told publicly, right? If, say, for example, Mourinho or Conte would have, come to United, like, or Mourinho stayed for longer, I could have seen maybe United utilizing him in 3 and back formation. That's where probably a player like Harry Maguire would benefit much better. And he is the kind of player who is really a confidence player. I know David De Gea was that maybe a couple of years ago, you can say. But for me, the moment where things are against Maguire, he definitely does not know how to kind of behave on the pitch, and that's unfortunate. He is not as bad a player as what people say that he is. He is a decent player. Yes, he has a lot of mistakes in him, but in terms of captaincy, you're right. As in Manchester United, again, does not really kind of feel great as a Chelsea fan. But the fact is, Manchester United are the biggest club in the world. So for them, you are representing a lot of fan base. For you, every kind of what you do on the pitch matters. So unfortunately, that body language, whether you have the confidence or not, you have to be right up there, and every point matters. So you're right. Bruno Fernandez, someone who kind of commands respect by his performances week in week out, is probably the man to go. Even Ronaldo for the time being, until kind of Bruno kind of accepts it publicly. I don't know if that's the case, but Harry Maguire, for him to get things right on the pitch, I think he has to be stripped of captaincy, because I think it's weighing in too much on him, is what it senses to me.
Sebastian, take rid of the captaincy in January, wait till summer what to do with Harry Maguire, because definitely we all know he's not a captaincy material.
Yeah, I think it would kill his confidence even more if you did it in January. So you're going to have to wait to the summer and then review the situation. It's a difficult one. I agree. He's got a lot of talent, Maguire. He is a very good player. He got in the Euro team of the tournament. He got in the World Cup team of the tournament as well. So he's clearly recognised as a good player in the world. Not just by people in England. So he obviously is a talent. And I do think he did very well for a time under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. But I think just towards the end of Solskjaer's reign, where all the players kind of down tools, I think it's fair to say that was pretty obvious, as we saw towards the end of Solskjaer's time. I think some of the other players have managed to come out of that under Ralph. They've managed to switch it back on and their form's a little bit better. But Maguire, he still looks like he's struggling from that time and he just hasn't got going yet. So he definitely needs to sort it out. He looks really, really sloppy, and he has done ever since the season started. His passing's been dreadful this season. Usually he comes out of the back four, tries to sort of work his way into midfield a little bit with his strength and power, get Man United up the pitch, but he hasn't managed to do that. And he's looking even more in trouble all the time when the ball's played over the top. So it's a difficult one with Maguire. I do think he's a very good defender, and I don't think, he's not someone he wouldn't want in his squad at all. He's definitely a player worth having, but ultimately, is he captain material? Probably not. When you look at Fernandez, you look at Ronaldo, you'd probably say they're better captains for sure. So I think maybe next summer will be the time that we might give the captaincy to somebody like Ronaldo. I wouldn't be surprised to see that happen.
All right. So we have one question that obviously then again with the PSG, Pep to PSG, because I think Pep loves Messi and can get the players he wants there at PSG. So I think PSG next club will be PSG. Sorry, Pep's next club. Your opinion? I do feel if he gets into club management, PSG is basically what Pep Guardiola thrives on. You get what you want. You have Messi. You go out and you somehow win another Champions League. So Sebastian, Pep to PSG makes sense, or you think that he will be waiting for the national job?
Difficult one, yeah. It'd be. I mean, if he didn't win the Champions League at Man City, and PSG sack Pochettino because they don't win it, why would they then hire Pep? So that would be the first thing that you'd have to look at there. Why not? I mean, if he goes there, it'll be easy for him. He can get another title to his name. But just because he spoke about wanting to manage Brazil or Argentina, I don't know if he's going to do that next. PSG could be an option. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. I do think that Pochettino will be sacked if PSG get knocked out against Real Madrid. So there will be a vacancy there at some point. We could see Pochettino come into England. We could see Guardiola going to France. You never know. From PSG's point of view, if they could get him, of course, they're going to take him, aren't they? Of course they are. He's a top manager. So, we'll have to wait and see on that one.
Ankit, Pep to PSG.
Yeah, it's it's an interesting question, because you mentioned about Messi, but the fact that Messi did not come to Man City, and I believe, as in again from reports, I understand that Pep had a say in it for sure. Like, come on, let's be honest. Like Pep, if he really wanted Messi, and if Messi kind of wanted Man City, they could have spoken it over. So for me, honestly, as much as I would like him to go away from Man City just for the dominance to end, I don't see it happening. It's just me, as in seeing Pep being so competitive. More recently, I know he's been there at different clubs previously, but I think when he was in Bundesliga as well, there was a rivalry going on with Klopp, and even before. So I think for me, at PSG, he's not having that level of motivation just for the Champions League. I doubt if he'll go, considering he's still so young. So it'll be interesting where he goes next, certainly. As in, maybe he takes a break, because probably he needs a break as well after the Man City stint. But trust me, he's here to stay for a couple more years. And I don't see, yeah, I can see Poch getting the sack because he's going to bottle it, let's be honest. But Real Madrid look better as well. So I can definitely see what Sebastian say, because yes, PSG, they're all depending on Messi right now, and I can see him getting the sack. But I won't be surprised if a Jose Mourinho comes back to say, a PSG. He needs a bigger club. It's just that clubs weren't there available when he went to Roma, and that's what it is. So I won't be surprised with that happening.
All right, so we have a comment that 36-year-old Finnish Ronaldo putting more efforts than 115 million prime Lukaku. Ankit Bhaiya.
No, like, let's be real, right? I mean, first of all, there is absolutely no comparison. Ronaldo is a goat. Lukaku has not even reached the G of the goat. I know that by that statement, whatever he made, maybe he didn't mean it, maybe he did, but maybe as in at the back of his head, he's probably thinking that he's become too big winning a Serie A. He's not. We can't even compare. Yes, the fact that he was signed at such a huge amount definitely put some kind of headweight, and that's what Lukaku probably got subconsciously. I would still say that I would give him the benefit of doubt and give him a chance to come out in the open and speak. And how can he speak? He'll speak on the pitch. Yes, today is not going to be playing reportedly, but hopefully, he kind of, clears the air, comes back stronger on the pitch, and just performs. And I think he's got it in him. If we have to pick just on form and just on ability alone on strikers, I think there is a debate that maybe Lukaku is among the top 5 strikers in the world currently, right? That's the reason Chelsea signed him. So I would still say that give him a chance, and I would want him to at least fight for what it takes in the Premier League still.
Sebastian, just a quick comment on this.
Yeah, Lukaku, Ronaldo. Yeah, you have Ronaldo every day, but yeah, Lukaku's obviously a talent. I think the thing is with Lukaku, which always comes into question, is just his attitude, isn't it? So if you can get that right, then you know that the talent's there. There has been questions in the past: is he a flat track bully? Does he like playing against the so-called easier teams? Does he do it in the big games? I don't know. It's a difficult one. At Man United, he didn't really do it in the big games. I think, as we saw, I think he did score against maybe Chelsea once, but I don't remember him scoring in any other of the so-called bigger games. So
even Lukaku doesn't remember it, Sebastian. He said in the interview, "I never scored against Conte," and Conte was managing Chelsea.
I have sorry. No. The only one point I would make is I still remember that PSG game. For that PSG game that you all remember, he had a major say in that game. Again, he played in a different position, and the way Oli kind of used him was very different towards the end. But actually, I saw a lot of moments, and even I know Manchester United, you mentioned that, but at Everton, he was fantastic against all the bigger sides in particular. So yeah, just go ahead. I just want to highlight.
Yeah, Ankit, we were talking about the bigger teams. Didn't know PSG became a bigger team, to be honest.
Good one.
Sebastian, continue. Sorry for the.
Yeah, no. I know what you mean. No, I think the potential's there. I think the potential's there. Definitely, there's no reason why he can't do it in the bigger games. And that night in Paris, he was very good, definitely. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see if he can do that in the Premier League this year. So hopefully, from Chelsea's point of view, he can. Like I said, he's got all the attributes. He's got everything that you need. He's quick. He's good in the air. So he's got everything that you need. It's just that first touch, isn't it? Sometimes which lets him down. And like we said, off the pitch problems. But I think if you're Chelsea, you've got to stick with him. And look, at the end of the day, if it doesn't work, Tuchel knows that he has got Timo Werner there, who is a really good option for him. I know that Werner became a bit of a laughing stock at times last year, but there were moments in that semi-final against Real Madrid where Werner's pace was causing them all sorts of problems. And against Man City as well, Werner's pace caused them problems, which was a massive part in Chelsea winning the Champions League. So although you want your striker scoring goals, Chelsea have ended up winning the Champions League by having a striker who just makes good runs. So, there's lots of different ways to play as a centre forward, and certainly Tuchel knows that if it's not working with Lukaku, he can go back to Werner and try to play that way again if he wants to.
All right. So the next point, we will, we have a lot of comments coming in, that Bruno should be the captain, Ronaldo should be the captain. We will know about that in 6 months' time. We have question regarding, Dalot or Van Bissaka. Sebastian, who do you expect to continue in the next 6 months?
I think we've got to go with Dalot. I think he's got more going forward than Wan-Bissaka has, and I think he's got more potential. Wan-Bissaka, we've seen him trying to do that, and I think Wan-Bissaka's got the pace to get up the pitch, but it's just that delivery, and if you haven't got it, you haven't got it, unfortunately. I wonder if Wan-Bissaka could potentially play in a 5 at the back on the right-hand side of a 3 one day. I don't know whether Manchester United will look at doing that, because he is a really, really good defender. When I was watching us play against Newcastle, and you saw that they had Joel Linton and St Maximin on that side against Dalot, you kind of thought maybe it would have been better having Wan-Bissaka defensively that day. But then you just know that he's going to offer you nothing going forward. So I think for me, it would be diogodalot. I think he did well in Italy. I think there were lots of clubs that wanted him. I know that Ancelotti wanted him at Real Madrid as well. So, you know, there are lots of clubs who would take Dalot if he was on the market. So again, it's just probably giving him a run in the team. If you give him 6 months, if he can stay fit, I think diogodalot would be the better option. But as we said earlier, I wouldn't be surprised to see Man United looking for a right back in the summer as well as a CDM.
Yeah, as in, it's interesting that you picked Dalot because Sebastian, like for me, I know Wan-Bissaka has not been doing much in an attacking sense of view, but as in the way Ragnick plays, I would be surprised if he's not got into the frame. I know the injury kind of also played a part recently, but for me, as in the defense is something that he would want to build on, because I think we all know the first half is an issue. Yes, if he can increase on just his runs down the right hand side, that is something that would give him the better chance. But still, I would say that building from the back is the best way to go for it, because I think the midfielders and strikers would probably be, as in play the pressing game if that's what he's intending to do, the gegen pressing. And for me, it's very important for Man United to have a secure back four right now. And I think Wan-Bissaka will still be my choice if I was you. But yeah, I can see, because of the fact that you're not getting much output from Wan-Bissaka, as in Dalot, someone who kind of brings something new. So I can see as a fan, you would obviously want to see him as well.
All right, so there is a comment that says Tuchel got ice in his veins, the way he has, just went along with this situation. Ankit, we as a Chelsea fan, even as a United fan, I would say that this comment basically makes a lot of sense. The way he had basically handled the situation, he kept it calm. He basically focused on the part training, but he kept it calm. It was not like he is losing all his head in the, press conference. So as your manager, how you feel he handled the situation?
I won't lie, I'm actually getting goosebumps right now. The moment you said that, statement, and great comment there, because again, like maybe I'm, subconsciously biased, being a blue for so many years. But yeah, the fact that I think Tuchel is there, as in, let's be honest, he's probably the best speaker out there, among the best speakers. I think I'm very impressed with Ragnick as well, in the way that he puts forward to people in press conferences, to players, etc. And he's a proper man manager. So the situation, as in, we couldn't be blessed more than having Tuchel right now, because again, any player, not of Lukaku, but any player could have done such thing. But the way Tuchel has come about things and just kind of try to solve by just as in putting it aside for the time being, is the best thing. But let's be honest, he was also questioned when only first part of the story came out. The second part of the story, reportedly, he's not been happy with that, and that is the reason again Lukaku has been dropped. But overall, let's be honest, as much as frustrations Tuchel has taken recently, I can imagine when we had Jose Mourinho, and then we all know how he would have kind of gone on press and kind of said things, because things haven't been fair to Chelsea in recent weeks because of so many COVID cases and whatnot. Still, we've been playing. Still, Tuchel is kind of keeping his calm as much as he can and going about the job. So for me, I think even the situation we were under after Lampard, as much as I like Lampard, we were in a soup. The way he kind of got the team together, and that is what Tuchel is. And hopefully, I'm just the only reason why I'm still optimistic and I said the things about Lukaku like I did earlier about the stream is because of the fact that it's Tuchel there, and I want to kind of give him the preference than anyone else, because it's not easy to manage such situations at Chelsea Football Club.
Sebastian, Tuchel, the way he went along with the situation.
Yeah, I think he's done okay so far with it. I think he's had experience with Aubameyang at Dortmund, didn't he? He had experience of him, lots of trouble there. And then he's obviously managed PSG, where he's had players like Neymar. He's had to deal with Mbappe. So he's had a lot of different experiences where he's probably, learned how to deal with those types of players. I think in the end, at the moment, as we said earlier, it's a power play at the moment. And it's one of those where he'll be saying, right, Lukaku, you need to know your place. You need to know that it was wrong what you did. because players know, they're not silly, they know that that's going to get clipped. And I'm sure maybe there were some things that were taken out of context, but players know that that's going to get clipped and it's going to get, you know, dramatized. So I think in that respect, Tuchel will probably punish Lukaku for a little while, and then he'll get him back in the team because he knows that he's going to score him the important goals ultimately. So yeah, I think for now he's doing okay, but in the future he's gonna want him back in the side. So I'm sure they'll make up eventually.
All right. Guys, as I said, we will be talking about the reviews, but it's all about, so many questions. As I said before, that questions on my on my stream is like never gonna end. So obviously, next one is, should Fred be benched in favor of Matic? Matic works better as a DM and allows Scott to move up the pitch and kind of play like Scholes. Scholes is a bit obviously, is a far fetch Anish bhai, but we can understand what he's trying to point out at this point of time. Sebastian, get a CDM, and even someone like McTominay, who is not consistent at this point of time, shows his true colors.
Yeah, when we were playing 4-3-3, I wanted it to be McTominay as a CDM, and then I wanted Van der Beek next to him with Bruno coming a little bit deeper. That would be the three in midfield that I would play, but Bruno would have to come deeper and Van der Beek would have to work hard. I would try to trust McTominay if it was me in that role. I don't know if you remember the Europa League final, I thought McTominay was the best player in the Europa League final, and he played CDM that night, and he actually got up the pitch, which was really good. He was almost playing like a box-to-box, but he was supposed to be playing in a defensive midfield position. So I would go with McTominay in the CDM, Van der Beek next to him, and Fernandez as a midfield three if I'm playing 4-3-3. But with Rangnick's new formation, it's difficult. I think you definitely need McTominay in there for his energy. So it just depends who you want to go next to him. I think it will be one of those times at the moment, what with COVID and what not really knowing the fitness of players, it's very, very hard to say if it should be Fred, if it should be Matic, because we don't know all the ins and outs of the fitness. So I think it does depend on the game. I think in games where you expect to have the ball, maybe it's better to have Matic because he's got a better passing range than Fred. Then in games where you're looking to win the ball back, then you'd probably look to play Fred. So it might be a case of just picking and choosing the right games at the right time.
All right. So one Chelsea question coming up. Ankit, will Chelsea be thankful to Sky for releasing the Lukaku interview, or angry at them for the timing? Dilemma
Yes,
for sure.
First of all, thanks, Ramachandran, for the question. I was actually looking at that question. I guess that you will be asking me that question. See, we all know as in media, what do they need? They need news, right? As in, this has got to be news. And of course, maybe he stamped his own foot, Lukaku, by doing what he did. And they have, taken, as in, made the best of the opportunity. As in, if I was basically part of Sky, I would have done that. Let's be honest. So there's no point really to be angry. Yes, of course, you can kind of argue that over the years, like, media, especially in UK, has been kind of biased towards Merseyside, and we all know that. And there are a lot of debates that we can always go on and go for that. But the fact that about, as in Chelsea is hated, one of the most hated clubs historically, and we all know that as a fact. But I don't think all those questions even come into picture. It's all about them utilizing whatever they have, the content, and they've made the best use of it. And right now, if at all, if I have to be angry at anyone, it is basically Lukaku's camp. Not because of him kind of trying to betray or even wanting to go back to Inter Milan, etc. For just the fact that the way he's put forward things, the timing of it, it's about his timing. Because let's be honest, it's him who has called these reporters and actually done the interview. It's not the other way around.
All right. So, as I said, we will be getting along with now the review of the season so far, because as you can see, the comment section has been a bit quiet in terms of questions. So we will move, first of all, we will talk about the 3 relegation threatened teams. Obviously everyone wants to know about the top 4 as well as the relegation threatened teams. No one basically wants to know what the mid-table teams are going to do. Whether Everton are 11th or 12th, no one wants to know. Whether Leeds are 15th or 18th. Obviously, if they get relegated, we will be very happy as United fans. But yeah, we will get along with it. First of all, Sebastian, your 3 teams that's going down definitely.
Okay, so I'll give you 2 definitely. That would be Norwich and Watford. I think they're definitely going down. But somebody will sign Dennis next season because he's doing really well at Watford. So I think Norwich and Watford will go down. The third one's a difficult one. you wonder if Burnley have run out of lives. I think they've been struggling for a few years now, and you wonder if this will be the season where Burnley could potentially be the next team to go down. But they have got a very experienced manager, and they know what to do to stay up, and they have also got 3 games in hand down there, so the table can sometimes not be truthful at the moment. You'd imagine that Newcastle will stay up because of the power that they're going to have in January if they go and sign Trippier, for example. That's already a massive upgrade on what they've got. So yeah, I actually think Brentford could get dragged into it. I know that they've done well and they've had a really good season. I think if you said to Brentford you'd have 20 points already, they'd be very, very happy. But I've noticed recently they've started to drop quite a lot of points in games against the teams around them. So wouldn't be surprised to see Brentford get dragged into it a bit more. So I'll give you Norwich and Watford. And if I had to choose one more, it'd probably be between Burnley and Brentford. I'll go with Brentford.
All right. So the team which has come up is destined to go down for Sebastian. I'll get there for you. 3 teams which you see going down at this point of time. We are just talking about 18, 19 games, but we are doing the half-season review. So what do you think?
Yeah, I think first of all, very interesting points. Yeah, Sebastian must say, because for me, again, I can probably go first hand by playing them, and Chelsea has played all these teams as well. So just going by the games, firstly, certainly Norwich are going on, as in it'll be basically rocket science, basically if they need to kind of stay up, certainly. But Newcastle, as much as I think Sebastian mentioned about them signing Trippier, I don't think a January window will be enough for them to kind of save, unless as in for me, more than anyone is Callum Wilson, who needs to kind of score goals, and that it'll come down to that. I don't think defensively they're good either. So I think it'll be kind of funny seeing Newcastle go down and Eddie Howe after what kind of the takeover happened going down. But actually, I am tipping Newcastle because I don't see those performances on the pitch. Even Saint Maximin has been very injury prone. I can't rely on them if I were them. The third one is interesting again. Sebastian did mention Burnley. Burnley again, like you mentioned, like there are 3 games in hand that they have. We played Burnley, and I remember that it is difficult to break them down compared to the other teams. So I can still see Burnley kind of getting those draws, as much as I don't like watching them, just as a neutral. Nothing against the way they play, and I kind of understand why they're playing that way, because they don't have enough funds either to sign up a lot of players. But I can actually see them kind of just scraping through because of the fact that Watford, I think if I'm not wrong, they've leaked goals left, right, center every game. I might be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong, even in the chat. But I think they don't have like a clean sheet till date. So for me, it's basically the defense which will kind of help teams stay up, and that's the reason why I am going with Watford, Newcastle, and Norwich. Leeds, surprisingly, I'm tipping them to be 17th and just about escaping it.
All right, we were expecting to hear Leeds. We were expecting to hear Leeds.
Same here. Even Chelsea, a lot of rivalry. Yeah, as in we've had some, as in obviously that famous FA Cup final everyone remembers, right? Back in the day, as in with like 50 years ago now.
Yeah. So,
but I think we had a lot of rivalry going.
Yeah, we have a very good quote that's coming in. Basically, it's Rangnick on Cavani. He had a conversation with him, and he basically wants him to stay. He has conveyed his message to Cavani. So we have heard, all the rumors that basically is coming from Spanish press. We have not seen anything about Cavani going out from someone like, Romano or someone like Lottie Whitehall, when you even talk about Simon Stone. So basically, it's all the noise that's basically coming from Barcelona, and that's after Aguero was done with the team because of his heart issues. So, Sebastian, do you see Cavani staying or do you see Cavani leaving?
Difficult one, really difficult. I don't think he's happy, is he, in England? I think he's probably not happy with the weather, certainly. So, yeah, I'm not sure whether he's going to stay or not. It's difficult. I mean, you'd like to hope that he'd want to stay and want to see it through to the end of the season at least. That's what you'd like to hope as a fan. I think he still offers something incredible to the team in terms of his movement. That's something that a lot of other players haven't got, and his attitude as well. His attitude's absolutely fantastic. We saw Ronaldo and Bruno against Newcastle. They were getting quite frustrated, but Cavani came on and showed real leadership, and I think that's important for the young players as well. You'd like to hope that Greenwood and players like that look up to Cavani. So if we can keep him, we should till the end of the season, and then maybe it's time to let him go. Obviously, he's not getting any younger. He's been injured for a lot of the season as well, hasn't he? So yeah, I think if we can keep him for now, just not to have another big drama in January. I think if we can get rid of Martial in January, that'd be a start. Keep Cavani to the end of the season, and then maybe look at moving him on and moving somebody else in there.
All right, next question. We have talked about the three teams that we think are going down. I haven't given my verdict. I will keep it for a while. I am still thinking about the three teams, to be honest. The question is Lingard's antics on social media. We have seen that Lingard is basically talking for a move out, but when he was given the chance to move, he is basically saying, "I will see out the contract." So either he is confused, or whether the PR agencies who is handling his social media is confused. We don't know what's going behind the scenes. But even yesterday, the Premier League posted some, his celebration with West Ham. He went on and got to have his story. I was very very unhappy, to be honest, because West Ham basically fighting tooth and nails for a place in the Champions League. It's not like they are going to get relegated, so it's fine. You can just go out and support your ex teammates. So, Ankit, what do you think of this theatrics basically?
Yeah, I think it's probably as in there's an overreaction. Honestly speaking, yes, of course, we can all debate about what you should kind of put out social media, not, and we know that Lingard, Pogba, of the likes, will do that, even if we kind of want them to control, and that's how as in they are as in Manchester United when they invest in such players, they know that they bring the whole package, and it's not a surprise. But I also understand the fact that he kind of wants to kind of see out the contract and see what's there because Ragnick, it's just been over a month now. So for me, Manchester United has not had enough games. I know that maybe in training you kind of see what is basically his philosophy, whether he'll have a future or not. But I still see that this is too soon, and its best case would be that he should just stay and basically prove his worth, and then maybe either kind of extend or as in he can talk to other clubs, whatever he wants. Because I think if I'm not wrong, the way Lingard plays, I will be surprised if he's not used because I think Ragnick's philosophy, the game pressing, etc., he can be excellent. Again, he's not as consistent and maybe the world class players you can say that, but I think he's done very well. Let's give it to him. So it's only fair that also he kind of waits and watches what happens, and then if he say by the end of Jan he sees that Ragnick is anyway not going to use him, he's free to maybe speak to other clubs.
Sebastian, his theatrics basically. You liking it, whether you think it's, because I didn't like it, to be honest. Obviously, other fans have different opinions, but do you think he should be doing that, to be honest?
Yeah, with social media, I always say it's okay if you're winning. So if you're winning, then you deserve, then you can put what you want. You don't mind seeing players dancing in the changing room if they're winning the Premier League or if they're winning the Champions League or after a cup final, then great, do what you want. But I think it's all about timing with your social media, isn't it? Especially if it's football related, then you need to just do it at the right time. Certainly when you're not out of the team and not really offering anything to the team, it's not very helpful. I agree, though, he can offer something to the team under Rangnick. I think he's got the energy and the work rate that Rangnick would like. So you'd think that there could potentially be a spot for him, but it might just be a case of, we've been here before with Lingard. Is he really what Manchester United need to get right back to the top? I think I would personally have him as a squad player. If he was happy to play that role as a squad player, I would rather have Lingard than Mata or Martial every day of the week because you know what you're going to get. You know that he's going to give you everything when he's on the pitch. But yeah, it might just be time up for him. It might be time to move on for both parties. As we saw when he went to West Ham, he was really, really good. And generally, when he plays for England, he's absolutely fantastic as well. So it's probably time, I would say, for both parties for him to move on.
When you talked about England, to be honest, one question which I have in mind at this point of time is why not try for a move in January? Because the World Cup is this year, right? You don't have much time to basically claim a stake in the World Cup team. Why not try to make a change right now? Just go out and say that, oh, okay, it's time for me to just have a move on. I would rather try to play for someone like Newcastle, get some game time. No one is asking you to, just stay with Newcastle after 6 months. Sign an, loan deal, or just be there for 6 months. If they go out, fine. You can, make a switch to other club. At least you can show your potential and try to be in the World Cup team for, England. That's what he should be aiming for, in my point of view. Ankit Bhaiya.
Yeah, you have a point certainly, but the fact, like we all know, like I think earlier we spoke in the stream that as in things in football change very quickly. So you can't say that, basically even him kind of going to a Newcastle, just as an example, like you took, will guarantee him, being in the World Cup squad come the winter, because we all know that it's the end of the year. It's a different kind of World Cup in terms of timing. So, and for me, that'll be basically the time that he needs, and that's the reason why I would still say that, again, as a neutral, I would basically suggest, if I can, that he should actually stick on and see what Ragnick has, because right now in the squad, if you really ask me, as in the kind of attributes he brings, I don't think any other player really brings. They may sign someone in the January transfer window, that is Man United, but again, I don't see any player kind of fitting in so well, say the moment he comes in. So I would say, rather than stick on for the time being, and then maybe take a call by the end of the summer, because again, that's something that maybe he can pre-decide right now, and that's something that Man United would also want to have, because you don't want to have a situation where it's really unclear as to what's going to happen in the future.
Yeah, Sebastian, same view, same question from you as well, that whether he should take a move at this point of time, take 6 months, or just be on the bench, enjoy the dancing on social media.
Yeah, no, I think, yeah, for his point of view, he should go out, shouldn't he? He should go to a club like a Newcastle, an Everton, a West Ham, where he's going to play most weeks. I think that would be wise from his point of view. If he wants to get back in the England setup, that'd be the sensible thing to do. But it often comes down to financial packages, doesn't it? If he thinks that it's better to wait till the summer, then he might be doing that for one reason or another that we don't know about. If he thinks he's going to go and get a huge contract, then maybe he'll do that. But yeah, I don't see why he couldn't go on loan, even till the end of the season if he wanted to. From his point of view, why not? So yeah, we'll have to wait and see what happens with him. But he could certainly offer something to an Everton, a Newcastle, West Ham. He'd be absolutely sensational for those teams if he wants to go and do that. But from Man United's point of view, yeah, if we keep him to the end of the season, if he's not going to sign a contract, then so be it. We knew that in the summer. We should have offloaded him in the summer. I think we could have got around 25 million for Lingard, which was a mistake to not offload him at that time, especially when you need money to buy other players to come in. So I was disappointed that Man United didn't try to do something with Lingard going to West Ham in the summer. So it's a shame that they're going to lose him for nothing. They're going to lose Pogba probably for nothing as well. But at the end of the day, if you get these players off the books, if they're not interested in being there for one reason or another, then you can move on. You can start to get the culture back at the club where you have a full squad of players who want to be there on similar money, all working towards the same goal, instead of having so many different egos and different players thinking that they're bigger than the club in one respect or another.
All right, so guys, we have talked about the questions already. We had to do a review, so we have talked about the three teams which you two think that would be going down. For me, I will be keeping it. The way Leeds are playing at this point of time, I'm definitely going to include Leeds. Because they don't have depth. We have seen with Leeds, the only reason they survived last season was because they were keeping their players fit. If you look at this season, Bamford is injured. They are not getting the same game time from someone like Calvin Phillips. He's also either injured or being on the bench for some reason. I don't know. So I am definitely putting Leeds up there. As Sebastian said, Newcastle has the firepower in the January window. So they are definitely going to make some moves. So I think that might save them. And Norwich, this is a team which they should be just banned from Premier League, or otherwise should be told that unless or until you are not spending 50 million, you are not going to be in the Premier League. Because they make the same scenes every season, they will go down, they will come back, they won't sign a player, they will go down again. It's like happening for them for the last 2-3 seasons. And third team for me is definitely Watford. Burnley defensive prowess, might come in handy. They have that experience where they can grind the results. So these are the three teams. We will talk about the top four. The top four race is heating up. We three basically have in our minds that City is the champion. So we won't even talk about City. They are basically on a juggernaut. They are not losing. They are taking the results. Their players are fit. No one is getting injured, and the Balford is still there. So I don't want to talk about him either. Ankit, we are the rest three champions obviously declared. Now we have a situation with the AFCON now, where Mane and Salah are gone for Liverpool. and you have a game today with them. So I will start with you.
Yes.
What do you think are the next three teams?
Yeah, again, like I know the AFCON is in again, and then the players have to go there and represent national teams, and absolutely there's no question there. But I think maybe it's blown out of proportions about Liverpool players going to AFCON. If you actually see the games that they're going to miss, they are doable games in terms of winning. Like Liverpool should be winning those games even without Salah and Mane. So it's not going to affect as much as what we think or what we hope as opposition fans. But like again, without putting my Chelsea hat on as a neutral as well, the caveat would be the injuries, right? As in, we've had too many injuries. Liverpool recently, in last week or so, have also started getting those injuries. So it really come down to that. I know it's easy for anyone to say, but again, with the squad that we have and the fact that we are, I know we are having what one, we have played one game more than Liverpool and we are 1 point ahead of them. We should still beat them tonight and hopefully stick on to that second spot as a minimum, if not challenge if City by chance slip up. So I can see us finishing second and Liverpool finishing third. As much as I know you guys don't like me saying that, the fourth spot now again, there might be a lot of hate that I'm going to invite here. But one of my favorite managers, but obviously is Antonio Conte. Like just the energy that it brings. Of course, I hated the fact that he went to Spurs, but it'll really be down to. I know Arteta has got a philosophy in Arsenal, but for me, that's a flash in the pan. It's really Spurs have been unbeaten under Conte after he's taken over, and I can see them actually being defensively better than Man United in a way. So I can see it between Spurs and United, and it'll come down to basically just that 1 point or 2 points at the max. Right now, based on current form and based on what I see on the pitch, and the fact that Tottenham, I think, have an extra game in hand, if I'm not wrong. Spurs look favorites for that fourth spot for me, and then United. But the United DNA will come through, and it will come down to the last game week.
All right. So top four for you is basically City, Chelsea, Pool, and Spurs. Ankit Bhaiya.
Yeah, based on current
All
form,
right,
but I can see
Sebastian.
United overtaking, hopefully, for your sake.
All right, Sebastian, your top four.
So my top four, I think City, Liverpool, Chelsea would be the top three. And I think for the fourth position, we've got Spurs and Man United fighting it out. I think if Spurs were to get an injury to Harry Kane, that would be the thing that could push Man United in front of them. We do usually have a Kane ankle injury, don't we, towards the end of the season where he's out for
Exactly.
4 or 5 weeks. So I'm fingers crossed that happens. And then Man United could just probably nick the fourth spot. I think, yeah, it's at the moment in current form, you'd probably say Tottenham because they're obviously on an unbeaten run under Conte. Conte as well, I completely agree. I think he's a top manager. I would have personally had him at United as well. I think Man United, where they held out so long under Solskjaer, we should have sacked Solskjaer earlier and got either Ralph or Conte in a lot sooner, and that would have helped things. But such is life. So yeah, I think it would be between Man United and Tottenham for the fourth spot. I think Man United will just get it, just about, because of the squad. I think we've got a big enough squad that if we were to get an injury or two, we'll be okay. I think if Tottenham were to get an injury to Kane or an injury to Son, I think they could really, really struggle. Their back four, okay, it's performing better at the moment, but as we've seen now obviously it's a back five, it's performing better at the moment, but as we've seen, it can be a bit suspect at times, and they have had an easy run recently. So I think when Tottenham come up against all of the top teams, you could see them just about drop enough points so that Man United could nick that fourth spot. So we'll probably go, City, Liverpool, Chelsea, Man United just.
All right. So to be very honest, I'm also going with Sebastian at this point of time. Obviously, I'm not taking the choker Spurs in the top four. They do have a quality manager, and I am also going to look at the transfer window, to be honest, because Conte was promised a huge transfer window in terms of the signings when it comes to the January window, and that's one of the reasons he joined after rejecting them at first place. So obviously, the point of view will definitely come after the January window, because at this point of time, they played absolutely magnificent against Liverpool, and then back to doing the same against Norwich, you can say, where they just fumbled but got over the line somehow. They dropped points against Southampton. So we have our top four, which we want to, see. Obviously, we are at this point of time, we are not taking the January window into account. A lot of things change after this January window. And with this, guys, I will, obviously, Ankit, I have taken your time for a bit longer. Sebastian is here with us as well. So we have one question, and after that, guys, which CDM, if we are going to sign, talking about United, is more likely to be here in this window as far as the negotiations go? I will start with you, Sebastian.
Ooh, difficult one. In this window, it's a very, very difficult one. I think in the summer window, I could say Rice or Phillips would be the top two that you probably look at. But in this window, it's very, very difficult. They spoke about Kamara, haven't they, from Marseille? He could be one that we could look at. He can also play centre-back. I think he would be a fairly good option. If I'm not mistaken, I think his contract runs out at the end of the season. So again, it could be like one of those deals that you could do on the cheap. So if Man United could get Kamara for 10 million in January, that would be a really, really good shout, I think. But yeah, for the summer, it would definitely be Rice or Phillips. But yeah, I think for now, Kamara would be a really, really good option. I don't know if Ralph knows anyone over at Leipzig as well who he might look at potentially bringing over. They spoke about Tyler Adams as well. He's another defensive midfielder who's probably more box to box, but could be another option that they could look at. So I think for the January window, I'd say Kamara would be the one who we could get in this window.
And give away one CDM from United point of view.
Yeah, so I think Kamara is a good shout. We were linked last summer. I think whole of last summer we were linked with him, and again there was call saying that he's not ready yet, and maybe now this season, would have gotten ready. And I think Sebastian puts out a great point about the contract situation. I think probably he's got to be the number one choice if that's the case. But again, I did see him last year. This season, I've not followed him much. He wasn't ready at that point. So going by that, I don't think he can start for Man United because that's what he really need. So a starter. So I'm surprised that I know that I'm trying to kind of put things into your mouth, but as in Germany, someone that we have been linked for last 2 summers now. Germany has done really good. As in France, I know he's really been someone who can actually not only defend, he has basically good physicality, but kind of can play out of the back as well. So that's someone that probably Man United would have a better fit. Declan Rice would come as a real high cost. So for me, I think it's surprising not going for that. Or even like someone who can play like in a double pivot, who's not a pure defensive midfielder, but with Van der Beek, I think again a Dutch and Gravenberg is something that maybe I can see Ragnick molding him because he's at that right age. So those are a couple of calls from me.
All right, so guys, I think that would be it with the questions. But I think all right, we have another question regarding the captaincy rumors, but we are, at least Ankit very short on time because we had a talk before the stream started. So thanks a lot, guys, for the questions. I will keep the stream on, so for a while. But if Sebastian can stay, that would be lovely. I know for a fact that Ankit Bhai had to leave for some family reasons. So thanks a lot, Ankit Bhai, for joining today, and hopefully I will be invited on your channel very, very soon. So
absolutely, it's not just that. I have to say, definitely, again, people watching, do smash that like and subscribe if you're not, because yes, Anshuman is working very hard, and great to speak to Sebastian as well. Hopefully, yes, and both of you are invited. And like I always say, Almighty Blues FC, we are a channel for everyone to see. Yes, we do a lot of rival shows as well. We have trivia shows and whatnot. So I'm hoping that you guys, everyone watching, do come on to Almighty Blues FC, and of course a panel. Great to have basically us on, and I would love.
All right, guys. Before Ankit Bhaiya leaves, basically I will be here, as I said. Ankit Bhaiya channel link is in the subscription, in the description. Sorry, not subscription. It's in the description. Same as Sebastian's channel as well. So do check out, and you can interact with them on social medias as well. I will be putting that after taking it from them. So don't forget to share the stream, this stream, as well as subscribe to the channels these two gentlemen have. So thanks a lot, guys, for joining today. And as I said, it's always good to have different perspective. It's one thing that I can talk about United, and then it's coming from fans from all around the world, with Chelsea fan in the house as well. So hopefully there is a 1-1 draw for Chelsea today, Ankit Bhaiya. On that note, I really hope it's a draw. That will suit definitely United for sure. So there is lot of guys. There are a lot of comments coming in for both Ankit Bhaiya as well as
thanks everyone.
And you guys are being praised a lot. So definitely we are going to have another show.
Absolutely, anytime open for it, and I loved it for sure, and always open to speak any football. Like we all live for football, we all know that, and definitely you guys are welcome on my channel, and I'm sure Sebastian will connect as well, and hopefully we'll connect very soon. And on a good note, after maybe Chelsea, improve the season as well as Man United. So yes, again, thanks for having me. I'm off.
All right. Thanks a lot
Easy.
for joining the show today, Ankit Bhaiya. And Sebastian, as I said, Ankit Bhaiya will be leaving. So Ankit Bhaiya, you can, he is already gone. If you have time, we can definitely continue this for a while, or otherwise, I will definitely be,
Yeah,
it
yeah,
totally depends.
I've got another 10 minutes, so we're all good. Then I've got a delivery
All right.
coming. So we've
So
got
we
10
are
more minutes.
having 10 minutes. We will definitely be picking up some more questions regarding United. So
Definitely.
we have a question. Getting Rice in summer would be a great thing, but in my opinion, we need to boost the midfield as soon as possible if we need to maximize our chances of top four. Sebastian, your comment.
Yeah, I think Declan Rice, yeah, would be someone for the summer, definitely. I think if we could get him in the summer, that'd be ideal. I know that he was at Chelsea's academy, wasn't he? And obviously he's a Chelsea. Well, there's reports that he's a Chelsea fan. He's best mates with Mason Mount as well. So I think that's the only problem with getting him, which is obviously a London boy. So yeah, we could potentially see Rice going to Chelsea, but yeah, I think if he come to United, we'd be absolutely ecstatic with that. He's got everything, hasn't he? You just see him improve every season. I remember when Declan Rice first broke through, people thought he was going to be a centre back, but then he broke into the CDM role and was just absolutely outstanding. He's never really looked back. I think when you look at West Ham getting close to the top four, it's all really because of Rice. They've got a lot of very good players there, but Rice is that next level. He drags them through games. He's absolutely outstanding. If you were to put him in a top team with other top players around him, I think he'd just go up another level as well. He was outstanding in the Euros. For me, would have been in the Euros all-time team in that tournament. So yeah, I think Declan Rice is a fantastic player. If Man United can get him at any time, that'd be absolutely fantastic.
All right. So this was about Rice. Sebastian, next question coming your way is: can we say City, Chelsea, Liverpool are fixed top three?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, City, Liverpool, Chelsea in any. Yeah, I think City first, Liverpool, Chelsea in any order. But yeah, I think that's a pretty stable front top three at the moment. They're definitely the best three teams. They've got absolutely everything, haven't they, in terms of squad power? You've obviously got the African Cup of Nations, which could be one problem for Liverpool. But as we touched on earlier, they've got a fairly good run of fixtures during that time. So I think Klopp will probably manage the squad pretty well. You never know. Chelsea have been on a bad run. If one team was to have some injuries, then you never know, as we saw last year with Liverpool. But even with all the injuries that Liverpool had last year, they still ended up getting top four. So you'd imagine that, yeah, those three will be pretty stable. And then I think for that fourth spot is between Man United and Tottenham. I don't think you can completely rule out Arsenal. I think Arsenal have got a fairly good squad. They're obviously on a good run at the moment. They've got a lot of good young players. So yeah, you can't rule out Arsenal either. So but the top three, I think it's pretty set in stone at the moment.
All right. So as I said, guys, we will have the questions coming in. So as I said, Sebastian, lot of good wishes coming your way. That people are liking your point of view out here. So we are also having the question about, we have a question from Anish Bhai that says, should a player be responsible for the price tag? To be fair, the player hardly has a inflated price tag and release clauses.
For the price tag, no, I don't think so. I think when Man United went into negotiations for Maguire, for example, we ended up paying 80 million and Van Dijk was only bought for 75. And I don't understand how in a negotiation, if you're Ed Woodward, how you cannot say to Leicester, well, we're not paying any more than what Liverpool paid for Van Dijk, because we know that Van Dijk's top quality. So how Man United ended up paying 80 million was completely beyond me. However, Maguire is, yeah, obviously a worthy player, but yeah, it's just should never have been 80 million. That's utterly ridiculous, and it's not the player's fault. The player can do nothing to control that, really. With release clauses, yeah, I think that's obviously on the player. Like Harry Kane is one, his brother's his agent. You think, well, why didn't you put in a release clause? Jack Grealish did, and he got a great move to Manchester City. I don't know why Kane didn't. That was quite bizarre. So in terms of release clauses, that's on the player, isn't it, and his management and his staff to do more. But in terms of how much they're bought for, I don't think there's too much that the player can do about that. I think that's for the clubs to agree, isn't it?
Yeah, coming on to the Grealish situation, Sebastian, we you are, out of time as well for today. But
Good.
Grealish situation, there was any need of Grealish moving to City, because of the talent and because of the depth City already got?
Difficult one. He was outstanding last year, and he is a really, really good talent. But I do think they overpaid. Actually, I think obviously Grealish's team was smart to get that release clause in, and Aston Villa was smart. I think from Villa's point of view, just because of Grealish's off the field behaviour, you imagine that he might not get to the level that other players get to, in terms of longevity in his career, because it does play a part now. If you're a model professional like Ronaldo, you can go to, what is he, 36, be performing like he is. Whereas if you're somebody like Grealish and you're not quite taking it seriously, that will catch up with you in the end. So I think from Villa's point of view, to get 100 million was fantastic. From Man City's point of view, I think they overpaid a little bit. I think 80 million, 85 would have been enough really for Grealish. But you have to look at it on the back of the Euros as well. I know Grealish didn't play every minute, but there was a lot of hype from the Euros, and that always makes the price tag go up. So I think that's why City ended up having to pay what they paid. In terms of has he done it for City, I wouldn't say he has just yet. I think they might be expecting a little bit more from him. I watched the PSG game, and I don't think Grealish was outstanding in that. So I think there is more to come from him. It's just disappointing when you have the best manager, or one of the best managers in the world, paying that sort of money for you. It's disappointing from a fan perspective that you can't go there and act like a professional, because you'd think you'd want to be like a sponge. You'd want to take all the information from Guardiola. You'd want to learn everything. You'd want to be the best version of yourself. But Grealish hasn't ended up doing that so far, which has meant that he's been left on the bench. So yeah, it's an interesting one. But I think because they couldn't end up getting Kane for one reason or another, then that's probably why they went for Grealish.
All right, so we have a lot of comments saying that he is overhyped, overhyped. Grealish, we can definitely not say overhyped at this point of time, but definitely the wrong decision. He was a talisman at Villa. He should have even kept for 1 year, and then he could have made the move. You never know. Other clubs would have been interested as well. But before you leave, Sebastian, just one last question: that did Spurs, made created a huge mess by not letting Kane leave? Basically, you are getting 150 million for a player who's 29. He is having the ankle issues. He is not going to be there for more than 3 or 4 seasons at his prime. You are getting 150 million, from which you can totally revamp your squad. Entire squad basically. You can get a lot of good young players, and you can mold them, the way you want, basically. And you end up like, all right, he's not going anywhere. We are not going to sell him, even after receiving a bid for 150 million. So was
Yeah.
that basically totally, to be honest, illogical on the part of Spurs?
Yeah, I think if you could have got 150 million, you should take it all day long, shouldn't you? Especially when you take his age into account. I think, yeah, Tottenham should have took it really and should have moved on from him. I think under Nuno, it was never going to work, was it? I didn't get that appointment. I think Nuno was like their 8th choice, and Kane definitely didn't want to stay to play for Nuno. That was clear. I think he didn't score his first Premier League goal till not that long ago, so he wasn't up for it under Nuno at all. I think now that Conte's there, it might change Kane's mind. It might make him want to stay there a little bit longer. As we saw under Mourinho, Kane was quite up for it. I think Kane actually had one of his best seasons in terms of assists and goals under Mourinho. So yeah, it's an interesting one. I think Tottenham, it's probably similar to the Bale situation, isn't it? When they sold Gareth Bale, they ended up investing that money and getting 6 or 7 different players. And from memory, I think Eriksen was probably one of the few out of those 7 players that they bought who actually turned out to do anything special. So yeah, I think it's all about how you invest the money. But Tottenham need to invest, don't they? They had an aging back four. We saw Vertonghen or Alderweireld. If you think back to Trippier, Walker, Danny Rose, that was their sort of reals when they had a solid, good options in the back four. They've ended up having to replace all of them for one reason or another. So I think Tottenham do need strengthening in a lot of areas actually. And I think Conte, as he's already touched on in an interview recently, I think he'll be looking to bring in a lot of players as soon as possible, really. And as we know with Conte, similar to the Chelsea situation with Tuchel, you wouldn't be surprised if in a year's time neither of them are there, because if they don't get what they want, they'll be gone.
Exactly. All right, so Sebastian, I know your time is getting up. So just one question, because
Perfect.
you are being admired so much. So just one last question, no more questions
Sure.
after that. Why United keep Cavani on high wages when we can get Vlahovic, who's much younger and cheaper. To be honest, I don't think he's going to be cheaper in terms of his wages, because he definitely, rejected the biggest contract in Fiorentina's history. It's known to all. So I don't think he's going to be uh, cheaper. But when you talk about the Cavani and the Vlahovic situation, what's your take on this?
I think if you could get Vlahovic, you'd take him, wouldn't you? So yeah, I think you'd have him all day over Cavani because of the age. So yeah, definitely if you can get him, take him. But I'm not sure it'll be that simple. I think there's lots of different circumstances there that we have to look at. But Vlahovic has been banging in the goals, hasn't he, in Italy? I mean, his record's been absolutely sensational. It is a different league to obviously the Premier League, so you have to take that into account. When you look at someone like Jovic, it kind of reminds me of that. Jovic was banging in goals for Frankfurt in Germany, and then he went to Real Madrid and didn't make the step up. But Vlahovic is so highly rated by everyone. I think we've seen Fabrizio Romano is one of his biggest fans. He's always posting about him every few days. So I think when he speaks about someone like him in such glowing terms, it shows that Vlahovic is definitely a talent, and you definitely have him in the squad, wouldn't you? All day long. He's younger. He's got pace. He's good in the air. He's got a bullet of a shot on him. Can score from anywhere. So yeah, if it's Vlahovic or Cavani, you're taking Vlahovic all day long.
All right. Thanks a lot, Sebastian, for joining. As I said, you are also out of time, so we will catch up very soon. We have a lot of games coming in. The busy December is gone, but we have a lot to look forward to in the coming weeks, and hopefully we will catch up very
Definitely.
soon. Thanks a lot. As I said, you have gathered a lot of admiration from here in terms of your viewpoints. So it was a great, sight to have you out here. So
thank you. It's an absolute pleasure. Yeah, everyone subscribe to your channel. It's been absolutely sensational. You're doing really well with the channel. So
Sebastian's channel's link is already in the description. So don't forget to go out there and check what he's putting out on day-to-day basis. So show some love to show lots of love to Sebastian, and I will definitely be bringing him back on this channel very soon. So thanks a lot, Sebastian, for joining.
Thank you very much, and yes, everybody's welcome. Come over to my channel as well. I welcome everybody. So it'd be great to interact with new people for sure.
Sebastian, I will keep the stream for 2-3 minutes before I sum it up. So you can definitely get
Perfect. Okay, and I'll see you another time.
Definitely, Sebastian. We will be in
touch. Perfect. See you soon, guys.
All right, so guys, the panel for today is gone. I really hope that you guys enjoyed it, because to be honest, as I said, I wanted to come up with something new in the next, when the next year started. I will definitely be making some new changes as well. As I always said, the streaming will be much better in terms of coverage. The 10-15 seconds delay will not be anymore. And as I said, thanks a lot for whoever joined today. I know I have not been able to, take everyone's name, but this was the setup I was trying for the first time. I have never, done anything with StreamYard before. So this was my first time, and I was giving it a try. So, hopefully for the next stream, when I go with StreamYard, I think it will be much better than what it was today. And maybe I can, put up the comments on the screen itself, so that I don't miss out on any comments. Obviously, I was not missing out on comments, but obviously I was not able to interact on a personal basis like I usually do. So if that made someone unhappy, I'm sorry about that. And tomorrow, guys, is our game, so we will definitely be seeing each other for the watch along at 10 p.m. for sure. Just after the lineup comes in, I will be here to discuss all the team news, as well as what we should be doing in order to get rid of Wolves tomorrow. So thanks a lot for joining. And as I said, I have not said, basically, I said it in the beginning. Happy New Year to everyone. And I really hope that it's an amazing year for all of us, obviously, including me. I really hope that you give a lot of support and love that you have already given me. So hopefully I build on this. I can bring a lot more people on the channel and make sure that you are entertained in the way you are entertained. Yeah. Thanks a lot. Anish bhai. Thanks a lot, Aman bhai. hopefully we score 10. Hopefully we score 10 on each fight. As I said, guys, whether it's super chat, whether it's your likes, whether it's subscription, whether it's your your notifications on. So everything matters, and I really hope that make sure that notifications are on so that you don't miss out. As I say, I don't want to miss out on you people, and obviously don't want you to miss out on me as well. So thanks a lot for joining, and definitely, and we will see each other soon. As I said, I will be keeping the stream for I will be getting off the stream for now, and tomorrow 10 p.m. sharp, put the notification on. That in a while, I will be rearranging the event which I already come up with. So tomorrow 10 p.m. for the watch along against Wolves. Stay safe. As I always say, the corona cases are on the rise again. So stay safe. We will see each other tomorrow. Have a great new year, and keep smiling always, like I always say. So thanks a lot for joining, and we will see each other tomorrow. Good night.